Hello, I'm Lachlan.
And I'm Emily.
Welcome to our permaculture garden in Forestville, Adelaide, South Australia.
Come and have a look.
Here's our espaliered front fence. It's been here about 10 years now. We've got a Granny Smith, a Barrabosk pear, Nashi pear and 2 quinces. It's great attractant for the neighbours. The kids love to stop and go, "Oh, look, there's some peaches." And sometimes the neighbours will pick a little bit, but we don't mind. It's nice interaction. Unfortunately, sometimes they pick the pears when they're a little bit unripe, so they don't actually get the benefits from it, but that's okay. We've got some natives underneath here, some Eremophila, Reba Red Saltbush, muntries, so they are good food as well as bird attracting, insect attracting. So the front yard's a mix of fruit trees and ground covers, nice and simple, and the non-natives are all attracting the insects and beneficial birds to the garden as well. And the non-natives are all flowering plants that we tend to get flowers when other plants aren't flowering. So it's really good for attracting the insects, giving the bees some food at different times of year, attracting the birds in. And it's really easy to look after, and it helps to kind of act as a living mulch as well.
Come on through, the garden's out the back. All right, paradise.
That it is.
Yeah, if you were here a few weeks ago, you would have just seen like a jungle of grapes dangling down, and it was quite amazing and delicious. We've got a bubblegum grape, which is one of my favourites, especially taking it to school to share with the kids. So this spot we have as kind of a little shady retreat. So the western sun comes through here, so we have a wall of grapes to stop the sun from pelting in on us, and it makes just a perfect spot to pretty much spend the day. Our office is in here, so it's a really nice shady spot to work. And we've got like a little paradise for our herbs, which is kind of a path straight from the kitchen out here. We've got chilies, which we love, lots of mint, thyme, basil.
So in the summer, it gets enough shade, so everything gets well protected. And it's all close to the house, so we can just come out and pick it when we need it. Nothing worse than having to walk right down into the back corner of the yard to have to pick your herbs for your dinner. Mm-hmm. But it's not only is it nice and well protected in the summer, but in the winter the grapes drop all its leaves, and then we get the sun coming in the afternoon. So it helps to warm the house up in the winter, which is, it's just a great example of how you can get your garden and your house to interact. We get our production, and the house benefits from the cooling in the summer and the nice shade, and then the warming in the winter.
This is a rental. Our landlords planted the grapes 5 years ago. So last year was the first year that they had full shade. So we moved in last year and we were the ones that benefited from the shade from the very first time. So when our friends moved into the place, the apple was here originally. So before all the gardens, it was the apple and the mandarin that's out the front. And this is the northern side of the property. And so as much as I love apples, this is a terrible place for it to be, because in winter, autumn and winter, it just doesn't seem to drop the leaves early enough, and we want sun here in winter, but it seems to be just pumping in the shade. And so ideally we'd have it on the other side of the yard. So if I could just turn that apple tree and move it around, it would be perfect.
So when you're thinking about design and where you want to place the fruit trees, so these grapevines have been fantastically well placed to shade the house, and they don't block any sun. These fruit trees over here, the nectarine and the peach, have been well placed, but this one being where it is actually creating a whole lot of shade for these garden beds between 10 and 2 in the afternoon in the early winter. We'll have to keep it very well pruned to allow enough sun to come through, and it's just something that you have to deal with. But when you think about it and you're able to design and put it in the right place in the first place, then you minimise those types of issues. In our garden, we like to recycle all of the garden waste and all the kitchen waste and make our own composts. And so we have a composting system where we've got a few bins that we put around the yard, and we rotate them. And one of the tricks that we do is that we actually place them under our fruit trees. So then as the compost is being made, a lot of the nutrients will drop down into the soil, and then that helps to feed our fruit trees. So we're getting a double benefit of constant slow feed, and then when the compost is ready, we spread it out around the fruit trees or on the garden beds as we're rotating the garden beds. And then once it's finished and empty, we'll place it in another part of the garden. So we're constantly rotating them around.
Sometimes we'll put the compost in a space where we want to have a garden bed. So if we don't have anything growing in that spot, we'll put the compost, we'll have it all ready there, and when it's ready we just lift the compost, spread it in the garden bed, and then we're ready to plant. So it's just a nifty way of, instead of shoveling compost that's finished to where you want it, you can just do it in situ.
And for the larger amounts of garden waste, we put on a dry compost and we have that open, but we make sure we don't put any kitchen waste with it, because then that attracts the rats.
Yeah, so because there's rats, we're in the city, we can't really help that. So we've recycled again, permaculturalists, produce no waste. We've got some recycled wire, and we've put that underneath the bottom of all our compost bins, so the rats can't get in there, any rats or mice. It's kind of compost, rat-free compost. They can walk past and smell it, but they can't get in.
The one thing we do bring in is some manure, which then we mix into the compost system, but we try and get all of our green waste and all of our kitchen waste basically producing our compost on site.
And the manure, the cow manure, we get it delivered and we split it with the neighbours, so we can split the deliveries free, share the truckload, and kind of have a bit of a stinky community day of shoveling cow poo everywhere.
And our neighbours, yeah, they're kind of happy when we give them some produce from our garden.
Yeah, when we moved in, the beds were already here, even with irrigation, so it was quite a goldmine for us. The paths though were quite overgrown, so there were lots of weeds growing through there. So what we did is that we dug up the weeds, composted them, and we moved all the soil into the garden beds, because we found that the paths were actually full of worms, and so even the paths were fertile, so that was really exciting. And then we put a layer of recycled cardboard down and then piled wood chips on top. So in time the wood chips will break down and turn into soil again, or carbon for the compost, and then we can recycle and reuse that again.
So it's a rotating system where we keep our paths low maintenance, and then we're actually creating soil on the paths and we put that onto the beds. That happens about once every 12 to 18 months. And the other good thing is that the wood chips will soak up any excess nutrient that runs off the beds. So we're actually holding the nutrients on site and recycling them as efficiently as possible. Another thing that we love to do is that we grow our own weeds as much as possible. So here we've got the dandelion, which is really good tonic tea, makes a good, so the roots make a really good tasty tea as well. But this is really high nutrient value leaves for our composts and our worm farms. It's great for the bees because they flower at a time of year when not many other flowers come out. So that's really important for our bee and beneficial insects. And what we're trying to do is have all of the types of weeds that we have here, like the nettle and the dandelion, which are really high nutrient value plants. So our compost then in turn is also high nutrient value, and then that helps to feed our vegetables and fruit. As you'll see in front of us, we've got a lot of parsley growing, far too much for us to eat, although we do love it. We love to self-seed that through the garden, and together with our high nutrient value weeds and our silver beet, our kale and rocket and different plants that we self-seed around, we eat as much as we can, and then we can feed stuff that we don't eat to our compost, to our worm farms, and it just helps to keep on recycling the production. And they actually create a living mulch, so it helps to keep the other weeds down. So this is our little worm corner, another important part of our recycling composting system. So we have a separate compost container in the kitchen where we put scraps that the worms love. We cut them up really, really fine because the worms only have really small mouths. Yeah, we feed them in here. We actually run lots of water through, so we get lots of really nice tea that we put on our garden. And then we have the castings that we can put out with our seedlings when we plant them. It's a really good spot. We chose this spot purposely for our worm farms, because in the winter it's actually got no leaves at all. The plum and the grapes drop all their leaves, so it's quite a sunny spot, which the worms like a bit more warmth. And then in the summer it's completely shaded so that the worms are happy they don't get too hot. We do give them a nice block of ice on the 40-degree days to help keep them cool. But they're quite happy in here, very low maintenance, so it's a really easy kind of system to keep on going. So we decided that we wanted to change the ratio a bit of how our vegetables to fruit growing and grow some more vegetables. And then we came up with a good solution.
There's a really great community garden around the corner. So we were new to the area, so we thought if we applied for a plot, we'll be able to meet people in the neighbourhood that love to grow food, and we get a place to grow our overflow. So last year we had like a bumper broad bean crop, heaps of garlic, and so it's just things that don't fit in this space, and then we can grow things that will take more time and take up more stuff. So at the moment we've got eggplants coming out of our ears over there. So we've got eggplants and tomatoes, and they just take up a lot of room, but also two things that we love to eat a lot. So have a lot of fun, have social cups of tea over there, and it's been really wonderful to just meet everyone and hang. The tea, Lockie?
Love one. After all that hard work. Still got a bit to go though.
Yeah, so this year for my birthday we had a chicken coop building birthday party, but didn't quite get it finished, so over the school holidays we'll probably be working on building the chicken coop to make it a fox-free paradise for the little girls.
And that'll add another layer to our rotation of our garden into compost, into vegetable system. Keep everything as in-house as possible. Some other things we'd love to work on is getting a pond into the yard, creating a few more areas for some Mediterranean herbs which love the sun and the dry.
Maybe put it in a pizza oven.
Ooh, that'd be good. And a bird bath as well, because part of our pest management system is to try and attract the birds and the insects, have homes for the lizards and skinks, get some frogs, and they really do need a water supply and they need good habitat.
Just a perfect place to sit, have a cup of tea, watch the birds. It's going to be really lush.
Especially the willy wagtails and the New England honeyeaters love to come in. They sit on our trellising out there and then they just fly up and snap all the little insects as they're flying around.
Yeah, the honeyeaters have been diving in here, getting all these little bugs. It's been really fun.
So what are we going to do with this?
Eggplant parmigiana.
I don't know. I reckon Moroccan.
Maybe.
Oof.
Yum.
Yeah, maybe we should actually roast the eggplants with some tomato around them. Dinner's done.